Welcome back to Squawk Box. Major iPhone manufacturer Foxconn saying its factories in China are set to rebound in the coming weeks as the country tries to recover from the coronavirus. Joining us right now to talk more about how that virus is impacting Apple is Nehal Chokshi. He's managing director for Maxim Group. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
So there's two issues I think people are trying to grapple with. One is when all this stuff comes back online and what the supply chain disruption really means. And the second is on the buying side, which is to say the Chinese consumer, whether they're actually going to be buying Apple devices and what that means.
Sure. I'll address the latter part first because the first part is, really noise. The latter part,
it's noise because?
It's noise because you already have channel inventory,
right?
And there was channel fill there, and therefore you lean on the channel. And the fact that it's coming back, I would say, by the end of this month here, that is sooner than I think what some people had feared of end of April.
Okay.
And so the channel fill that was there provides that buffer, in my opinion. The question on the demand there, if you look at it from a long-term oriented investor, I think most investors are looking at Apple as what's the annuity of a user. Mm-hmm. And you can think about that in terms of retention rates. And so does the retention rate change because of an outbreak of the virus, either for an Android-based phone or for an iPhone? The answer is no. And then the next question is, does that shift out the demand in a material way? We think it does shift out because now you've gone basically 3 months further away from the beginning of the product life cycle. And if you're looking to buy an iPhone in the June quarter, you're at the end of that, close to the end of that product life cycle. You might want to wait an extra 3 months to get the newest and brightest iPhone. And so that's why we shifted about $11 billion of demand out of fiscal year 20 to fiscal year 21. But at the end of the day, it doesn't change the retention rate, it doesn't change the value. But the last thing is I would point out is that at 25x earnings, there's an expectation of a significant growth in the annuity of an Apple user.
Right.
And that probably assumes close to 100% attachment of a watch as well as AirPods. We think that's relatively high.
Say that again? Repeat that.
100% attach rate of AirPods and watch to every existing iPhone user.
You're saying you think that's what's built into the valuation today?
Yes. Yes.
And you think that's aggressive?
I think that's
way too aggressive.
It's not beyond the scope of believability, but that's definitely very rich.
You got the new ones?
The new iPods?
Yeah.
The AirPods?
AirPods.
Yeah.
I have not acquired them yet.
Okay.
But as you know, I have multiple of the other ones.
I know.
So should you build into any of your models that potential delay of purchases, not just because of inventory, but because of a lot of the consumers kind of saying, hey, I don't know what's going to happen the next couple of quarters. I'm just going to push out the next phone I'm going to buy.
Yeah, well, we basically shifted $11 billion of revenue out of fiscal year 20 into fiscal year 21.
But that's the Chinese consumer?
That's the Chinese consumer, yes.
What about the U.S. consumer? What about the European consumer? What about the consumer elsewhere?
So as far as I can tell, the supply into the rest of the markets has not been materially affected. And so, no.
I'm not talking about supply. I'm talking about demand.
Demand.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about whether you think people are going to be walking into Apple stores at the same velocity that they do today or that they did 2 weeks ago.
Sure. So essentially, are you saying that our consumers are going to pull back on spending because of a potential macro hit?
Yes.
Understood. No, I have not taken that into consideration at this point in time.
Because?
Last time I updated estimates was about a month ago when they did provide the update, and whether or not we were going to see a true macro slowdown at that point in time was not clear. And I would say it's still not clear at this point in time whether or not we're going to definitively see a true global macro slowdown. Definitely in China, there's no doubt. Whether or not we will see a definitive macro slowdown within the U.S. and the mature markets, that's still to be determined, though it does seem to be a more likely scenario at this point.
To put a fine point on it, the other question I was going to ask you that relates to all of this is, in terms of commentary around new product launches, do you really think that everything that was planned is actually going to get out the door the way they had anticipated?
Yeah, so I think you're referring to the iPhone SE, whether or not that's going to get out the door within the March quarter, or is that going to slip to the June quarter? I think that's pretty much.
Or a new iPad. I mean, there's been talk about a new iPad with this new keyboard that I desperately want, by the way, if the rumors are true, because there's going to be a trackpad involved. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, yes.
That would be a game changer in my.
Why?
Because if you want to use an iPad as your replacement laptop, that will be that'll
will
change the
finally-
whole dynamic.
That'll
finally.
make it much more like a laptop.
And I've been campaigning, Mr. Cook, on this issue for
So it's working.
5 years. I don't want to claim any credit. I'm just suggesting that.
I do recall you talking about this
There are people out
potential
there.
for
Yep.
wanting a trackpad for quite some time. This is going to be a replacement to the PC. And yes, that's a little bit of a driver there.
Right.
And yeah, these products are delayed. But look, they already withdrew guidance for the March quarter.
Right.
Whatever they put up for the March quarter, that's already going to be given a pass, right? And that all gets caught up either in the June quarter, and especially with iPhone, that gets caught up in the December quarter.